Oh no, it was coming too. It's gonna be one of those days, folks. Haggard! All right, you know what we've got? We got a plan B. It is smoking a lot. What's up, folks? I'm sure by now you recognize this red pile of junk behind me. That is my 1996 Nissan 200 SX SER. The only thing special about it is it has an SR20, but I am going to be turbocharging it for less than $500. That's right, it is my entry for the $500 Turbo Car Challenge happening the entire month of June. Please go check out the description and the pinned comments to links for all the channels who are competing. This is going to be an awesome time. Now, this should have been my focus all the time recently, but I've actually been welding on that to get it inspected. If you want to see some updates on that, please go check out my Instagram at 802garage. But in the meantime, I have some bad news because this car has a really bad problem I need to fix before I can even get to work turbocharging it. You may remember that pretty much every time I've had this thing on video, it makes a horrible squealing noise. And if you've watched my video about all the problems with this car, hint, there are almost 100 issues I could find. And actually, this is another one. Look at this. There's a plug here. I don't even know where it goes. But please go check out that video. It was a lot of fun to make. It was sort of like a Cinema Sins except for car issues. In that video, I told you that this car had a squealing belt and it needed actually both of the belts replaced. Well, I'm here to tell you right now that I was wrong. Well, not technically wrong because it does need both belts, but there is a much more serious issue going down right in here. So from up here, you can see one of the belts right there, and it's looking a little worse for wear. And if you actually look right up there, it doesn't look like it's fully covering that pulley. That's because it's not. There's only 3 out of 4 ribs left on that belt. And down there, it actually looks like it's being bent slightly, which is very strange. But that's actually what's happening, because that pulley, you might be able to tell that's the crankshaft pulley, has a strange lip right there. Going underneath the car, most of you who have experienced this before or seen it will already know. What we have here is a crankshaft pulley that has separated. You see, these harmonic dampener type pulleys have a rubber ring that goes around the inner pulley, and the outer pulley has actually separated and is slowly working its way back and trying to absolutely eat that rear belt. And if this either came off the front or went off the back, it could start spinning erratically or fly off and cause tons of damage. So, the bottom line is I really need to fix this before I can do anything else on the car, including my base runs, a tune-up, whatever it is. So I'm gonna get straight to work. Hopefully it's gonna be very easy. Just loosen both of the belt tensioners, take that off with an impact socket from the wheel well, replace it, and we should be good. And I was worried this was gonna be an extremely expensive part. And well, my worries were well founded because these can be, I don't know, upwards of $100 to $150. But I got pretty lucky and I found one on eBay for only $28.95. It's obviously not OEM Nissan, but it should be good enough to last for the challenge, that's for sure. Let's throw this thing on the car. And of course, first bolt I take off, I can tell it's just gonna snap because this side is spinning, but I can see the threads on the other side aren't, so I'm gonna wire brush it, spray it with some lubricant, hammer it, we'll go back to it. Well, this bolt is done for. Oh, it may actually be turning. It may actually be savable. This is crazy. You can watch the threads of the bolt actually twist and load up as I do this, but the threads inside of the insert aren't actually turning. There we go, I got a little turn. There you go, I got a little tiny turn out of the lower threads. I think we're about to lose this bolt. It's getting hot from stretching in and out, but you can see all the steam coming off of it. All right, we're gonna let that sit for a minute in hopes that it'll strengthen up and then not die. I don't know if you guys can see this, but right down there, the bottom threads are actually moving So that's why I'm going back and forth. Oh no, it was coming too. What a shame. Well, that puts this project in a little bit of a different state. It's gonna be one of those days, folks. There you have it, folks. Always anti-seize the crap out of your adjustment bolts. Sad. But I'm gonna see if I get lucky and this alternator moves. It does. So hopefully I don't have to loosen the other bolt at all. I'll just leave it as it is because Haggard! Cool, I think that's enough to get the belt off. And the power steering adjuster has less access and is harder to film, but we're gonna see how it goes. That was completely loose, which is really, really lucky. Maybe I'll get lucky on this one too, let's see. Oh wow. Maybe spraying this one down and wire brushing it ahead of time helped, who knows? Either way, that's awesome. There's the lower bolt on the water pump that needs to be loosened just to let it pivot. I was hoping it would be a little bit loose already. Should be a 14 millimeter. All right, you know what we've got? We got a plan B because I cannot get that bolt and I'm just gonna whip the wheel off, get straight to the crank pulley, and then hopefully I'll have more access to that bolt and then I can actually properly tension everything. And there you have it. That gives us pretty easy access to the crank pulley. Well, this beast is a 27 mil. We're gonna see if the DeWalt DCF 894 can handle it. Got it on high mode. I love this thing. Look at that. No problem. Wow, that's a beefy bolt. Oh, that figures. It's slightly too big to come out by itself. Well, I do have the tool for this. The unfortunate thing here is that none of the typical pullers are going to work because they usually have to attach to the crank pulley and it's separated. So there are these two bolt holes here, but you don't just want to drive bolts in them to pull the pulley off because they can punch a hole in the timing cover. Okay, folks, what's up? It is a brand new day. And no, I didn't quit last night. I didn't give up. I'm not a failure. You're a failure. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. I do want to say real quick, please go check out the channel, Wide Open Throttle Garage. He just released a video I watched before coming out here where he literally makes a turbo up pipe out of an old trailer hitch he cut up. There's some other hilarious Haggard style nonsense going on there, so please go check it out. And all the other channels in the links. And we do have a late joiner to the competition. Everybody said we should let him in. We're going to try to help him out. Science of Speed is the channel name. He's only got a few subs right now, so please go check it out. Give him a sub. It'll make his day. He's got a Prelude. He's already dug into the engine. He's got to replace 4 bent valves, and hopefully that's going to be sweet. So again, please go check out links to all the channels competing in the description. For now, let's get back to this thing. The good thing about it being a new day is you are going to see what's going on a bit better, and I did find a puller that I think is going to get this off for me, so let's get to it. What I do have is this beast right here. Well, I may have to get a bit creative here. Now, despite being sunny, it's starting to rain on my back. But anyway, I was going to put a big pliers around this to clamp them and then put a vice grip on the end of the pliers to hold it steady. Instead, I made a tool. So the plan is to put that on top of this, use the puller bolt with the screws through it, and we're gonna see if it works. Check it out, I found some longer bolts. I don't actually remember what these came from. I do know they came off of Subaru. Actually, pretty much all the bolts I've been using come off of Subarus. But these are gonna work and actually let me use a larger washer for support too, so I don't damage anything. It's working! It's working! Oh, my plate's hitting on the car. I believe it's off. This feels much more triumphant than it should. Now's when I hope I didn't punch any holes in any timing covers or anything like that, or damage the crank. Looks good to me. Front main seal doesn't even look like it's leaking. Victory. You can also take off this belt, which is 2.5 out of 4 ribs left. So here you go, closer inspection, and I'm probably going to degrease this a bit. Sure, it's not perfect, but it's way better than it was. Just sprayed a little WD-40 in there to prevent rust. We'll go back to this in just a minute. Oh, before I forget, you would think that this is all from an oil leak, but actually I think it's from classic Mr. Rip CV boot. I don't think there's much grease left in there. So that's one more problem that I forgot to add to my all the problems with this POS video. Please go check that out if you haven't. It's sad. Well, I'm sure I'd be done swapping the pulley now if it wasn't for this. Just keeps raining on and off, but I have been cleaning up the garage. I do have a few friends coming over in a couple hours. Jacob from Rust Belt Garage and his friend, as well as Steven from Cars Simplified. If you don't know those two channels, check them out. They're not in the challenge, but awesome guys, and they want to be in the challenge, so maybe next year. My friend Tito might come over this weekend too. We're gonna have an awesome time, hopefully part out my Nissan Sentra, maybe help strip this thing and paint it. Who knows? It's gonna be a blast. We'll see. All right, so that's how I start every clip. So I'm here, and it's raining more. All the guys are here. So this is Steven from Cars Simplified, Jacob from Rust Belt Garage, and Jacob's friend Nate. And I still gotta get the crank pulley done on this so that I can move this thing out of the way so that we actually have room to work in the garage because I can move that. So that's what I'm gonna do, but figured we'd say hello to everyone. They'll probably be in a couple videos from this weekend. We'll see what's gonna happen. In the meantime, just gotta tackle this beast still. All right, so luckily this is pretty easy because I don't actually have to press it back on or anything. All I did was put some super lube on everything, so it actually slides together nicely and hopefully won't corrode. And clean the threads. Put a little bit of super lube on the washer as well. Clean the rust off everything. Just snug it up for now. And get the torque wrench. The spec is 105 to 112 foot-pounds, so we'll just go to 110. And I'm probably gonna need the wheels back on the car before I can finish torquing this down so that the engine doesn't turn over. Steven from Cars Simplified has graciously supplied some extra lighting. I just want to show you real quick, the pivot bolt for the power steering pump is actually on the bottom and it goes in that way. So if you look right above the axle, you'll be able to find it's a 14 mil. But I did actually get this to start pivoting. It's hard to show you, but you should be able to see. So I'll be able to get the belt on nice and easy. And also, the right way to fix broken Nissan bolts is with Subaru bolts. So this is a new Subaru bolt that actually has a 14mm head instead of that 13mm hardware store bolt. And this is an alternator bolt for a Subaru, which is going to be just barely long enough to tension the alternator again. So hopefully this thing will be ready to go after we torque the bolt down when it's back on the ground. Got 2 belts here. Actually paid less than 10 bucks for both of these. One belt. That's for you, Sarah and Tune. We're going in from the bottom this time, boys.
You want me to reach in there and help? Your turn. I'll help pull it. I'll help pull it up.
All right, I'm gonna come in from the bottom. I just need someone from up top to get a nice firm hold on it.
Do you want both hands or just one?
It might be a little bit floppy, so you're gonna have to get a firm grip and sort of just pull it through.
There's a lot of holes here. Which one should I put it in?
As long as you go around the small hole and through the big hole.
I got it.
We hopefully won't rip anything.
It's a little bit darker in color than I expected it to be.
All right, I think we're gonna need 2 hands for this.
Are we going? Is this team effort?
You got it. I think I'm satisfied.
You good?
Nicely done,
okay.
Jacob.
You're welcome.
Problem, officer? I hate transverse engines, the musical. Like, legitimately, I can change the alternator and both belts on a Subaru in 15 minutes. What the fudge, over? Come on, Bessie. Yeah, mule. Yeah. Come on, Bessie. Well, the camera was dying, but you got the point. I did manage to get everything all tensioned, and it should work. And I also figured out that I'm not really going to be able to properly torque the crank bolt because this car has a torque converter, so you can't just put it in gear and hold the brakes like in a manual. So I just gave it a couple hits with the impact gun. It should be at around 110 to 120. But we could not use this new belt, and it held us up for like 15 minutes because it's too thick. And you would think a company would be smart enough to know that the inner diameter of a belt is the more important measurement than the outer diameter, but apparently not. So fought with this for like 20 minutes and then just put on the old belt because it's still fine, unlike the inner belt, which only had 3 ribs left. So we're gonna fire it up. Somebody else is gonna hold the camera for me, probably Jacob. And we're gonna hope that it no longer squeals. The battery is dead. Give it one more shot.
Yeah, give it one more.
It's trying so hard.
It's like right there.
Hold on, I got this. We got the tools right on hand. So I bought this. If you all haven't checked out my video on buying this nice little cheap jump starter, I'll put a little link in the upper corner because now you see exactly why this is so useful, especially if you like to work on old piles of junk with old batteries that have seen too many winters.
Boom.
It doesn't squeal! Mom, get the camera! Get the camera, Mom! It's a real car, Mom! It lives. And because this is a real car, it has a cable throttle that you can still activate. It revs so much nicer than it used to. Oh, that is. That was right to 7. It's smoking. It's fine. There's lots of WD-40 everywhere. Oh yeah, there's all sorts of WD-40 all over the intake, or the exhaust manifold. It revs nice, huh?
Smells like a real car.
Here, Jacob, go sit in that and push the gas pedal. Tell me what you think.
How long can I hold it?
You can, well, don't like hold it at red line, but you can just wing it out there. Come on. It's got to make it to the turbo before it dies in the turbo challenge. It's not bad for like a 1996 piece of junk with bad door hinges. It is smoking a lot. No, I'm just kidding. This is WD-40 all over the exhaust. All right. And on that note, the really bad problem, well, the one that was preventing me from doing the rest of the work to make it have more bad problems, on my crappy red 1996 Nissan 200 SX SER for the $500 Turbo Car Challenge, is fixed. And we're gonna go do something else now because this 1 hour job turned into like 10 total hours of my time. That's just the way life is. Bye. All right, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Quiet on this set. Quiet.
I'm just gonna speed this up, so you gotta say something in really slow motion so it'll actually pick up.
I want to ride a moose. I want to ride a moose. I want to ride a moose.
How's my hair, motherfuckers?